You are now listening to About That Business, hosted by Rom Wills. Rom Wills is an entrepreneur and personal coach who has helped people reach their fullest potential personally and professionally. Take it away, Rom.
Welcome to Rom Wills About That Business. Getting out of survival mode. Now, I mentioned this briefly during my kind of review of Undercover Billionaire. As I said, the gentleman, Greg Stearns, his first priority was getting to the point he had to be in survival mode, and he had a good thing. You can't really think if you're in survival mode. And I've read some statements by some other billionaires who said the same thing. Like especially anybody who's made, I say, if you make over 50,000 in this general culture, depending on where you live at, that's a very important piece. Depending on where you live at, shoot, you ahead of the population, because only 25%, really less than that, 23% of the population even makes over 50,000 a year. So everybody else, especially depending on where they at, might be struggling. You're in survival mode. If you at to point, first of all, most people have already paid their paycheck out like 3 months ahead. Now, if you're one of those people, and that's where people getting caught up, especially in poor neighborhoods. Like when you get those payday check cashing places, payday loan places, pawn shops, usually you in a point where you paying out some, because even if you put some in a pawn shop, you get a little bit of money, but then you got to pay that money plus more than extra to get it out. And then just to keep it in there, you have to keep paying something every month. You're in survival mode. If you're in a mode where you got to think about, if you going through, you probably have to find stuff on sale, like food on sale. You're in survival mode. Or if you're in a position where the slightest upset, slightest emergency puts you in trouble, like it's said that a significant portion, probably more than 50% of the American population couldn't handle a $400 emergency. That's survival mode. And if you in business, it's very important. If you want to start a business, well, even before you get there, it's getting out of survival mode. And look, I know what I'm talking about. There was a point where I was with a family and in survival mode. There was a point. So I know it. I experienced it. A lot of people might have experienced it. There's a point where it's like you count that money day to day. You got to be like tight with it. You know, there was a point where, shoot, now y'all see me. I'm a big dude, but there was a point I wasn't eating as much. I had to get a pack of chicken and make it last 2 days. Shoot, yeah, that do something for your weight now. Shoot. Now I can knock out that pack of chicken, got some rolls with it, some veggies, something to drink. Man, but I remember that time I was in survival mode, getting those Vienna sausages and stuff. See, one thing about survival mode, you eating a lot of bad food. Because, it's easy to say get the fruits and everything, but y'all know how much fruit costs out here. Shit, you paying good money for it. You might not be able to buy it. And that's a crying shame. And that's actually, as a tangent, that's a business idea. If you can, fruit don't really cost that much. You paying more for transportation costs and, including gas and, keeping it refrigerated, all that other stuff. But, it's with the poor, if you go to some of these like lower end grocery stores, they got bad quality food, so you kind of staying there. You're not even getting good nutrition. That's another video. I'm about to go off on a tangent. But if you're in survival mode, you can't really think long term about a business, because you got that bill to pay. Shoot, you might have that cutoff notice you got to do. You go, as my dear grandmother, may she rest in peace, would say, you got to goofy do some stuff. You gotta goofy do some stuff. You gotta rob Peter to pay Paul. And there's a lot of people that way. And look, first of all, there's no shame in it. I know, see one thing. Let me go off on a tangent now. We live in a culture where everybody trying to act like they're making money, but according to official stats, everybody isn't. Most people are struggling, and a lot of people are in survival mode. Like anytime more than 50% of the population can't pay $400 for an emergency or even have a savings Most people don't even have a savings of 400. Of course, or even more. And like the slightest thing, even with some medical insurance, because you're still doing most people still dealing with co-pays unless they're on Medicaid or something. You could be struggling. It don't take much, But important, you can't think if you're in survival mode. What you gonna think about? If you're in survival mode, you probably have a cutoff nose you're looking at. Probably have some bill collectors ringing your phone all the time. You ain't eating as much because you got to cut back on your food. And then, somebody might think, oh, that's cool, you can lose weight. It's like, no, you're not getting nutrition. You're not getting the energy. And the best way is to voluntarily cut back on stuff. Anyway. And you couldn't even go to the gym anyway to work out. You can't afford that either. But whatever you do, you got to get out of survival mode. Now, how you get off of that? Now, it's a sacrifice. At a minimum, it's going to be tight. You probably ain't going to buy clothes like you want or anything. But you just got, even if you saving just a little bit every week, that's the first thing. You want to do that. You want to, if it's some bills, you want to focus on the bills. First of all, maybe just cut up those credit cards and stuff. Just pay the bill, pay it down. Or even before you get there, really think about how you're spending money. Like before, if you're doing well now, make sure you're feeding your savings. Especially if you're in business, but you want to take everything one at a time. Take a bills one at a time. Cut back. Figure out where you can cut back. If you need a car to work, you might have to just get a very good used car and get real friendly with a mechanic. If you can't do that, but yeah, just get a good used car. Figure out what you can do extra. One of the things, if you try and get out of survival mode, if you at least got a full-time job, you could probably get another part-time job. Like employers actually prefer like people working part-time because they've shown a record of showing up to work. They would probably deal with a person who already has a job. So you might have to get that part-time job just to pay off stuff, which is nothing wrong with it. You're going to have to sacrifice, like I say, sacrifice some stuff. Sacrifice some clothes. If you got kids, it's tough with kids because they got peer pressure. If they come in with some bummy clothes or non-name brand clothes, depending on the neighborhood, they might catch some hell. So you want to deal with that, but the main thing, get out of that. You want to get to a point of comfort. I would say a point of comfort at minimum is where you can cover all of your bills for a month without working. So you want to get to that point of comfort. You want there, and you want to get to the point you're not paying. You out of survival mode. You don't have any cutoff notices. Bill collectors aren't calling you. Then you could start thinking, because you're not under that stress. That's the key to it. You're not under that stress. Then you can start thinking about extra stuff. You can take your time. When you're looking on the internet for different businesses, you're not being distracted by some hunger pains or the phone ringing when you don't need it to ring, or somebody trying to trick you into paying something. Or you don't have to worry about your lights going out. So to get out of survival mode, you just got just take your time, get with it, start putting a little bit away. Probably have to be disciplined with eating. For fruits and vegetables, if you're lucky. Now, see, this is a problem in like some of the poor neighborhoods. If you can find a farmer's market, it's kind of funny. Farmer's markets are usually in richer neighborhoods, which tells you where they'll get all this stuff from a farmer's market real cheap for the week. That's one thing about rich people. They spend as little money on like some stuff. Meanwhile, you go to that store with the bad food and stuff, everything's expensive. But anyway, just slowly get out of that mode, all right? So anyway, y'all know what the deal is. In this case, especially more than others, let's go make that money.